Hello and welcome back. My name is Shannon and this is Made by Boo. And it's been a few weeks since I last recorded. So a few things have happened since then, including some finished objects and brand new works in progress, ones that I've made a little bit of progress on when I had not been working on them as much. So let's go ahead and dive right into it. If you saw my video last week with the bingo card updates, there will definitely be some changes since that one because I recorded that 3 weeks ago and now I've made some progress on it. So all three things that are finished right now are from that bingo card. The first one, the yarn is from Always Be Kind yarn, and the color is red, white, and rainbow all over. And it is a pair of DK weight Vanilla is the New black socks. So got the black and white stripes, the little rainbow going through it. Probably hard to pick up on there, but a little bit of sparkle. I made these in June because rainbows, June, and because on my bingo card, I did have making a DK weight pair of socks, so doing some nice Pride adjacent socks in June just kind of felt right. And now when it gets colder, I will have super cozy feet. I wear my wool socks year round. I do sometimes still wear DK weight of the few pairs I have, like in the middle of the summer, but it's if I'm wearing them like basically as slippers where I just need a little more warmth than usual, but that's not very common. The next one I have, I probably should not have put clips in my hair because the next finished project I have is a hat. So if you have been around for a little while, you know this is not the first time you've seen this hat, but this time it is finished and it is finished correctly. So the yarn from this one is from Muse 2320 Fiber, and this is from her 2023 subscription club, which was Troop 2320, and it was based on locations along the Mississippi River. The whole story makes sense as to why that was her theme of that year, but this one is called Lake Itasca. All of the subscription sets from that year they were sock sets with a mini skein with it. I honestly do not even remember off the top of my head what the mini skein looked like, but because I was using this to make a hat for my husband, I wasn't planning on using it. It was taken and thrown into my scrap bins with other ones of about that weight, other mini skeins, so I don't remember what it looked like. It was probably a gray. But this is a Musselburgh hat. The pattern is by Ysolda Teague. And so again, if you've been around for a little while, you've seen this. I made this hat months ago for my husband. It was starting to get warm already, and I knew he wasn't going to want it, but it had been a cold winter. And so the idea of the double layer hat just seemed nice. He has two hats that I've already made for him. He has one he wears all the time. He may still prefer the other hat over this one. We'll see what's more comfortable, but I wanted to give him a nice warm option. Since I had last made a Musselburgh hat, apparently my gauge had changed significantly, and I just did not really realize how much as I was going. I did follow the pattern instructions. If you've made a Musselburgh hat before, you know that it does say, like, get to a certain point, measure your gauge, and then here's how you figure out how big to make your hat. I had followed all of that, but when I made it, the hat was like 3 or 4 inches too big around. Like, it was loose on my head. It was bad. So this one, I pulled it back. I've already blocked it, so there's no markers left in it. I had pulled it back to the crown on the first side, so it was heartbreaking to pull it back that far, but it needed to be done if I was still going to use it. And my husband did still really like this yarn. And then I knit up to about that far, put it on try-it-on cords, and just tried it on. It seemed like it was going to be okay, so I took the leap and kept going. This I took with me a couple weeks ago. Oh, wow, only a week ago. I visited my brother, and this was one of 2 projects that I took with me to his house. So I got a whole bunch of work on it. I did a bunch of it in the car. I did some of it just sitting around chatting, and then finished it this week. Tried it on my husband before I actually bound off and blocked it, and he said it was going to be good. I got to the point where it was about twice as long as the hat of his that I've made, and I still had enough yarn that I could add an extra couple inches. And I went ahead and did that because I knew it might be a little too long, and then there'd be enough of it to fold up. So, kind of moment of truth here. Definitely long, but you can also see plenty of room to fold up. Now, I'm not really big on hats. I'm guessing this does not look incredibly good on me, but the nice thing about the Musselburgh is you just fold it up to the amount you need in each place, and now there's like 4 layers over my ear. So I'm hoping this hat works out really well for him and will keep him nice and warm this winter. So the last finished object is one that I have not shown a whole bunch because it is kind of repetitive. It was one of 3 projects I started at the beginning of the year with the idea of doing just a little bit every month. And then, as I expected to happen, halfway through the year, I was feeling overwhelmed with those projects. And so this was the first one I decided to zoom through. So, little backstory for the last... This would be year 10 when we reach December. So 9 years I had made little sweaters with everybody's initials on them for Christmas every year. All 5 of us got a new sweater, and we were rotating through who got to pick what color it was. As we hit year 8, I just realized I was burnt out. We now each had 8 sweaters going on the tree, and I mean, that basically turns... We even had a little sweater just for the trees at one point. Or little trees just for the sweaters at one point. And we still outgrew that. So it was getting to the point where there was just so many sweaters. And so I decided that we had way too many sweaters. I wasn't enjoying doing it anymore. And I was going to stop. But there are 5 of us. And we had 2 more years for everyone to have selected the color that we did twice. And one of the ones who would not have been able to select twice was my youngest if we had ended when it was. So I decided to just, okay, I'm going to go the next 2 years, finish up the cycle, and then we're done. Last year would have been year 9, my husband's year to pick the color, and they just didn't get done. Didn't start them, didn't anything on them. And then this year would have been my 7-year-old's turn to pick, and it was one of those where it's like, I'm now a year behind. I still want to make them. I have the yarn to do it. So I decided to just do 1 tiny sweater a month, and then I would be done in 10 months. As we entered June, I was 1 sweater behind. So these were the colors my husband picked. They are based off of the San Francisco 49ers. And I don't remember which order I did each of the initials in. But when June started, or May started? I was 1 month behind as we entered June or July. So I had not quite finished these. And then I still had 5 more to do. So at that point, I just decided, these, I'm not doing them 1 a month. I'm not enjoying them. It's not less stressful doing them one a month. I just get to the beginning of a new month and go, ugh, okay, I have to do another one. So I zoomed through. I completed 4. I completed 4 in July. And I now have 10 sweaters. This is on my bingo card as my holiday make. And so now I just have to hold on to these. When Christmas comes around, I will add them to what is currently sweater garland. And then I will never make another one of these sweaters unless I feel like it. They are no longer a yearly obligation. And that's really kind of what I was looking for, is just a break. If I feel like making sweaters again, I'll make sweaters again. But right now, my family of 5 has 50 tiny, colorful sweaters. I feel like that's enough right now. Okay, so those are my 3 finished objects. They're all very small, so it kind of doesn't feel like a ton for 3 weeks. But it is 3 things off the bingo card, which if you watched last week, you know the bingo card was stressing me out just a little bit. It was supposed to be fun, but I do that a lot, where something starts out fun, and then partway through, especially if it's long term, it starts to not feel fun if I'm not going fast enough. So knocking 3 more things off that bingo card in a few weeks definitely makes me feel better. I have 3 works in progress now. 2 of them are very specific things on the bingo card. 1 of them is not. All of them I am enjoying. So I will start with the only one you have seen before. This is my Anthology blanket. The yarn is from Ruby and Roses from my 2024 Advent calendar. And this is one of the ones that started out with the idea that I would do 2 colors a month. I am currently caught up through July. And it's very hard to kind of show it because it really does look like I'm just doing like a gigantic hat or a bag. And I know I've seen these completed, but it definitely is a trust the process project because I can't see how it's going. So the last time I showed it on here, I was, looks like 4 colors back. So 1, 2, 3, 4 and a half. I did like 2.5, maybe technically 3 colors, because I want to say I finished that one and then did these 2 and this one while I was visiting my brother. I just sat there chatting and knitting away on this one and on the Musselburgh Hat. And my plan had been that as soon as those tiny sweaters were done, I was going to move this up as well and just try to keep working on it, not do that 2 a month anything, because while this is not mindless entirely, as long as I'm keeping track of where the pattern rows are and focusing a little bit more on those, it is decently mindless. I may or may not continue this as a main project for a little bit. I will get into that when I'm done showing everything I'm working on, but it is going pretty well. I enjoyed working on it a lot, and I definitely felt better getting a whole bunch done in a short time. It was a little bit behind at the beginning of July, and over that weekend I was like, from the 1st to the 4th, I got 3 colors completed, and that definitely made me feel a lot better. The next project I have is one that's, it's on the bingo card, but just kind of as a coincidental. I almost always have a small project like this going, usually socks, and this one is socks. It is my travel project. I usually keep it in the car, and sometimes I definitely think I have too many of them, but I don't sit still well. So having something small like this makes sense for me. That was a whole bunch that was not needed for that. Sorry. So this is a Yarnable color from August 2024, and the color is Neon Graffiti. I am just making a pair of vanilla socks. I did add from my stash a mini skein. So this mini skein up here was actually left from my... Oh, I'm remembering. I am not remembering. It was left over from a Advent calendar that was galaxy themed, and my brain is blanking on what it was called. Let me see if I can pull it up real quick, because I know I had it, and I really don't want to not give the information if I have it here. Wonderful Wool. So this was from Wonderful Wool, and it was a galaxy themed one. I used it to make a crochet Advent baby blanket. It was a chevron blanket, and then I got to the end and my little in-between color ran out, and I had 2 colors left over, and this was one of them. So I was just planning on using it for cuffs and probably heels. I debated about doing cuffs and toes, or cuffs, heels, and then like a stripe at the toes. I am now at the heel and just kind of have to make the decision. So I'm thinking I'm going to do heel. But I have not actually started the heel yet, so I still have a minute to make the decision. I guess we'll see next time if I decided to do heels or toes with this. I don't always like to do all 3 because sometimes the 20 gram mini is plenty, sometimes it's not, and I don't always know why it is not. So yeah, just a plain pair of vanilla socks. I liked the dark cuff with the nice bright neon yarn, and with the dark at the top, I know it'll go really well with like dark colored boots when the winter comes around, where they'll blend in. But also, I will know that they are bright neon socks, and that will be fun for me as well. So the last project that I have as a work in progress, again, if you watched last week, you would know I'm casting on today. So I technically started this about 3 weeks ago and got a little bit of work done on it at first, and then it kind of sat while I traveled, and then now I've made a little progress. So this is another Advent project from 2024. The Advent calendar was A Chick That Knits, and the theme was dark and dreamy. I got it all on the sparkle base, so I don't know if the sparkle will come through. I currently only have the first half of the yarn right here, and then the other half I'm actually winding up today because I'm getting close to being able to start the second half of this sweater. So, as last week's video said, I was just casting on, and it looks so impressive since last week you saw me say I'm about to cast it on, but you do have to remember, technically I recorded that like 3 weeks ago, knowing that I was going to be out, and then it was extra good that I recorded it early because I did also have a little bit of video editing issue. I don't know what happened, but it kept saying I had a corrupted file, so I had to like remove 2 seconds from it, and then it would let the whole thing go. It was weird. Anyways, so this is the Radvent Cardigan. I do not remember off the top of my head who the pattern is by, but I will link it below. And it is such an interesting pattern. So it starts down at the cuff, and I'm working through, I'm gonna move all my hair out of the way, and I'm currently on the body. And then this is color 11. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah, I'm on color 11. So I will work through color 11, and then I want to say at color 12, I'm making another change to finish it, and then I end this half with a little bit of color 13. Then I start over and do the other half until I end up meeting them all in the middle. So it is definitely going to be a statement piece kind of sweater, which does make me a little bit nervous. I did know this, of course, going in. I'd seen the colors. I opened this up, and I spent at least 6 months deciding what I was going to make with it before I started it. So I was well aware of what it was going to be, but the more I put into it, the more I have that like, yeah, but am I going to wear it? Or am I going to spend all that time and effort working on it and then not ever wear it? Which, I know me, there's that part of me that's a little nervous. I do have some things that I have made that I wear all the time, including like to work and everything, and I would love to be able to put this on and wear it to work this winter. I mean, it's going to be wool, but it's going to be lightweight, so it'll make a great like layering piece to wear. But I did also just recently finish the Bay Day tank from Little Wolf Knits, and I was so excited to wear that, but every single time I put it on to wear it like to work or even just around the house, I have not put it on to wear it around the house as much. Maybe I need to do that a little bit more to get more comfortable in it, but I've gone to put it on to go to work and instantly had this like, ooh, it's just not quite long enough. It curls a little weird. Not today. And then I take it off. And I'm so worried that all this like gorgeous cardigan is going to end up being the same, where I put it on and it's like, that is just so much color. But I guess I won't technically know until I finish it and try it on. I do figure at the very least it will be a great thing to wear around the house, but I'm hoping it's not one of those things. Like, I can wear the brightest colored socks and feel fine in them. And I have made a rainbow t-shirt this year that I wear to work at least 2 or 3 times a month. Like, I'm not wearing it every single day, of course, because, nobody usually wears the same thing every single day, but I do wear it frequently. So my plan is for this cardigan to be the same, but every now and then I look at all the colors and the sparkle and wonder, yeah, but am I going to wear it? Or is it going to languish? So I guess it's just kind of up to me to make sure I don't let it languish in my closet. And maybe that'll be next year's goals, where this year it was prioritize yarn I already have. Maybe next year it'll be prioritize wearing my projects more. I guess we'll just wait and see what it is I need to do. So that is all of the projects I've really been working on. I do have, in the last 3 weeks, I managed to make one square on my Yorkshire crochet along. I had been planning on making another one this weekend, but that didn't happen. With the last 3 weeks, so when I last recorded, my husband had traveled to Vegas for MagicCon. He's obviously back now. It was a weekend trip, and weekend trips only last a weekend, so of course he's back. Then the week I was working that week, of course, and then the weekend after that, my mom came into town, and she was with us through the weekend, right up until the 4th of July. So we went to a market in Boise. What else did we do? Went to the market in Boise. And I took her to Craft Warehouse and to Half Price Books. And my mother lives in a smaller town that has slowly been losing all of its fabric stores, and she's really big on quilting. I know she's very grateful for Missouri Star because she can look and they can deliver stuff, and they have tutorial videos and things like that. But there is a big difference between looking online and walking through the store. She is kind of fortunate enough to have not really been that affected by Joann's closing because she didn't have one in her town. But that definitely didn't help. I mean, her town had a fabric store, and then Walmart at one point in her town had a bunch of fabric. And then the fabric store closed down. Her Walmart no longer carries fabric by the yard. So there's a quilting shop in her hometown. I guess it's technically my hometown, but where she lives. And as I'm sure some of you know, quilting shops, I mean, if they have fabric and you can go in and look at it, but it's not a store that's solely focused on selling fabric, and some quilting shops can be a little more expensive fabric. So it was nice for her to go and be able to just kind of look around at a craft store. She picked out some fabric for a quilt. While I was at work, my husband took her thrift store shopping because my mother really loves going to thrift stores. And we have a few in our area that she doesn't. Not just like, obviously each thrift store is going to get different donations, but just they don't even have the particular chains of thrift store in her area as they do here. So she did like being able to go there. Then 4th of July weekend, if I do not remember if I said it or not, but I do live in America, so 4th of July is a thing here. We had planned to go and visit my brother, who also lives in Idaho, but a few hours away. And so we took my mom with us, drove down to my brother's house, spent a couple of days there, and then when we left, my mom stayed with him. And we came back, and I was right back at work all week this last week. It sounds dramatic to be like, oh no, I had a whole week of work. But it was actually the first full week of work I had in 4 weeks. Every other week, because of us traveling, my husband traveling, or a holiday weekend, every single week had been short by at least a day. So it was the first week that I had all 5 days. I had 2 days that I had to stay until closing, which closing at my work is only 5 o'clock. So it's really not the end of the world. But then on top of that, partway through the week, there was just some things going on in the office, people leaving, people going. We found out another person is leaving. That was kind of rough. Happy for people who are making different choices in their life, but it's also hard not to have that slightly selfish of like, yes, but what does this mean for me? And it does kind of make my workload change when other people leave who are in a similar position to mine. So having another person leave, not ideal, but again, happy for people who are moving on to things that they want to do in their life. It's it's hard to completely erase that slightly selfish, but what about me moment. So still processing some of that. And then we're up to this weekend where I had told my husband, I don't want to do anything this weekend. I don't even want to leave the house if I don't want to. And I was going to do some of the responsible things, like our lawn desperately needed to be mowed. Here where I live in Idaho, wasps like to build nests on houses. And there's a couple of nests that I need to work on removing. I had some weeding to do in my garden, like little things like that. And when I went out to mow the lawn, our lawnmower had decided to die on us. If you've been watching for a little while, you know it has been a year with things like that. We had our crawl space flood and had to do a whole bunch of repairs. Our refrigerator decided to just, like, it still kind of worked, but not properly, not consistently. And they said it could cost us about $800 to maybe fix it. So we ended up having to get a new refrigerator and now a new lawnmower. It's been a year with replacing and repairing things in our home, so it kind of sucked. But we got the new lawnmower. I had to go out and deal with that, which sucked, but the lawn is mowed, and that was nice. And I went ahead and made myself mow the lawn yesterday so that today I could just have a morning to focus on relaxing, working on my projects, preparing my projects, and just trying not to stress too much so that I could go into work this next week and feel hopefully a little bit more relaxed, keep processing the changes that have been happening at work and will continue to happen for a little while. I mean, people don't have to know too much about any individual office to know that if you have an office where 4 people did the same job, 2 of them leave, that's going to change things. Because, 2 of them leave, people need to come in. We hired 1 person, we're still needing to hire another one, and the company wants us to actually hire 2 more. And then on top of that, one of the people leaving is my boss, so that's going to be more changes, and hopefully they are all changes for the good, but no matter whether they're good or bad, they're still changes, and therefore it's an adjustment. So I was trying really hard to kind of calm, center, focus on the things that I can do, the things I can control, and then go from there. Definitely a ramble there. Very sorry. And with some of my projects, I do have to redo some of my decisions only because I had like that little bit of working on one project. But I did realize there was a project that I was going to make as a gift for my in-laws. And my husband is actually going to visit them in about 3 weeks. So it has me in that, I wonder if I have time to start that now and get it done before they go. Because then they can just take it with them instead of worrying about mailing it later. And I know if I'm going to try to do that, I do have to start it today. But also, even if I start it today, I may still not have time. So I'm kind of in that, do I just take the jump and go for it? Or do I be a little bit reasonable and go, maybe you can't, it's fine, you'll get there when you get there. And I honestly don't know which is the smarter move. So knowing me, I'm probably just going to jump and see if I can get it done. And yeah, so that's the ramble of my life right now. I know I said I wanted today to make me relax and get my brain in order. As you can tell, that is not working entirely. But I did get a lot done this weekend. I am going to go into the next week not necessarily feeling chaotic. And that is good. And for now, I am going to go ahead and get working on this rambling piece of, I don't even know anymore, this rambling video and edit it so that I can continue on with the rest of my day with these finished projects and continue attempting to make beautiful things in this world. Until we meet again, have a very happy making.